Thank you. Before we get into our second tune, I want to give a quick shout out. There's an awesome connection that's actually between one of the musicians here on stage and somebody else who is providing a huge help for the concert right now. Down here at the foot of the stage, we have Mr. Shelly Dyer. His son Max is up here on the drum kit. Last year, as this year as well, Shelly has been kind enough to man the sound system for us and really does a fantastic job, takes a huge load off of my plate, and obviously makes everybody up here on stage sound awfully good. Let's give it up for him one more time real quick. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you so much. All right, we got one more here for you. This one gets people moving. This song was like, came out when I was already 30 something, but it's an oldie for them, of course. They really have taken to it, and as soon as they got a feel for it, they really started to groove and work with it. This is Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon. One more hand for the Nighthawk drum line. All right, we've got a real quick stage change that has to take place. Battery, go ahead, bring your stuff out back to learning how to use the bow, what we call arco. And most of what you guys heard at the winter concert is what we call pizzicato, where they're just sort of plucking strings, okay? They still know how to do that, but almost this entire show is going to be on the bow. And they're gonna actually switch back and forth midway through some of the pieces, just to show you they still know how to pizzicato pluck as well. So, I think you're gonna be very pleased and probably not recognize them from just a few months ago. This is our beginning strings with our first piece called Impulse. Thank you guys so much. Now, it gives me great pleasure and it's an honor for me to introduce our next guest conductor. As many of you have heard me say before, I was a band kid growing up and strings was like learning a foreign language to me. I literally thought the first time I held a violin in my hands it would just kind of explode under tension just from not agreeing with me. But working with the kids here has really given me a lot of confidence in it, but there are still some areas where I have some gaps to fill. And that is where our next wonderful TA comes in. She has worked with our string kids from our advanced all the way down to our beginners, and they've really taken a liking to her, which I think you'll see by their happy feet in just a moment. Please give a warm welcome to the stage, Miss Samantha Carabay. Thank you again so much. Okay, we got one more for you with our beginning strings. Chamber strings, you're on deck. Let's have you guys ready to go. Look at them all scurrying off. There they go. So this is a piece of music I kind of put on their radar at the early half of the second semester here. And they heard it, they liked it, they were a little, I think, apprehensive first time you heard it. Like, can we pull this one off? And as soon as they got their hands on it, it took off. This is one of those ones where you kind of hear it like some of those others, practicing in nutrition, lunchtime, passing period, after school, before school, in my sleep. So this one they really like, they really bring it to life. This is the beginning strings grand finale, Dragon Hunter. One more time for the beginning.
Not too close to the camera.
No.
You guys are good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Are you okay there?
Thank you so much. Pretty fun, huh? Anybody like envision like Beetlejuice or Nightmare Before Christmas or something like that? Super cool tune. They really like that one. So this next tune, we took with us to a competition festival where they did really well. They actually outscored every other school except for one, and they even outscored a couple of high schools on the way. Yeah. When I tell you I feel lucky to work at a school like this with kids like yours, I really, really do mean it. So this one, totally different mood, like I said. This one's called Above the World. Yeah, they sound pretty good, huh? So, before we go ahead and jump into our next tune, I do want to acknowledge that I do not, nor can I, do this all by myself. I've had so much help over the course of the year from parents like yourselves who have come on multiple field trips with our different groups, places like our Music in the Parks Competition Festival, places like the LA Unified Music Summit down at Cleveland High School, and places like our trip down to the Walt Disney Concert Hall. So for all of our wonderful parents who have taken part in helping facilitate those things and put those trips together and create those experiences for our kids, thank you guys so much. Let's give them all a round of applause, please. Now, in addition to our wonderful parents, our wonderful faculty and administration here, I also have the pleasure of working with a couple of fine musicians that I have as teacher's assistants. These are students that are working towards becoming music teachers in their own right. Right over at Cal State Northridge, they're working on either their credential or their music education degrees. And this gentleman I'm about to introduce and bring to the stage, I know from times when I was taking some of my classes over there not so long ago. He came in last year and helped with one of our oboe students, which is an instrument that I challenged myself to learn to help this student, and gave up very quickly. But he came in and actually, found all kinds of things to actually get this student playing and sounding good and feeling confident, and really propelled them to having a great experience for their 8th grade year. And so it is customary to allow one of our teacher's assistants to conduct a piece at the spring concert. So I would like you all to please give a very warm welcome to Mr. Lionel Paz.
This is a good angle. How's the one?
Thank you all so much. We're going to take a short break before we begin the second half. Feel free to grab a drink, use the restroom. We'll be back. Thank you. So while we have a real quick stage change taking place, another thing that these musicians have learned how to do is not just play one style all the way through a particular piece, but they've learned how to master things like tempo changes, mood changes, even different time signatures. So what you just heard was something that's very typical in music, 4 beats to what we call a measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But as music gets more and more complicated, and they're exposed to more and more musical concepts, sometimes they have the first half of the piece might be in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and switch to 4 or some other time signature sometime later on. And that's what happens in this next one. This is Galactic Episode. See if you can catch the change. So, for our last tune, I would like to invite a group of special musicians. These are called our band ambassadors. It's a program that we've been running now here in my last 2 years. You guys can come on up to the stage right now, start getting set. Ambassadors, I see you. Ambassadors, hello, over there. Yeah, all those kids on that side of the stage. Hi, it's your turn. Come on up. They're like, yes, come on up, take the stage. So we're now in our second year of our what we call the ambassador program. And this is where we invite students from our advanced band to come and hang and sit in with some of our 6th grade students to help them make some of that transition to more and more difficult music as they prepare for their next year in the program. And if you are looking at your program and see that this one maybe looks a little bit familiar, it's because the advanced band performed this one just a semester ago for the winter concert, and now the beginners. Hello? Ah, we're back. All right. See, everybody wants to know, when do we start, Mr. B? When does our group play? After so-and-so. No, but like what time? I can't tell you, because sometimes that happens. All right, so the beginners are now handling what the advanced band was handling just a semester ago. So these guys make some real noise. This one is called Furioso. How about one more hand for our beginning band? I don't know if my job could get much easier than that. So the final piece for our chamber strings before our last group of the evening comes on is one we also debated doing for the winter concert. We just didn't have enough time or real space to fit it in to that program, to that concert schedule. But it's one that they really wanted to do for a long time, and it's a beautiful piece. It's actually a little snippet of a very well-known piece of classical repertoire by a composer named Gustav Holst. He wrote a suite of 7 pieces of music on the planets. This was back in the 1800s, before they discovered Pluto and then killed it again. And this one is from Jupiter. It's the chorale section from Jupiter, the Bringer of Jollity. And I think this is a very fitting piece for some of our outgoing 8th graders. A beautiful piece, a beautiful farewell to some people I will miss very much. So we hope you enjoy it. Thank you. While we get set for the next one here, this is another piece of music that we took to the festival. And it's something that I think they've really also kind of surprised themselves with. It was one that felt a little bit challenging at times, but again, putting it to the democratic process, which one do we want to take to compete with? And it was a very close margin. I think this one only won by what, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 votes or something like that. It was very close. With a group this big, that's a very thin margin of victory. But again, they were up to the challenge. I should just go ahead and tell you guys. They scored what was the combined score? 93.5 or something like that? Oh, wait, no. 96.5. 96.5. It was a 96 and a 97. I remember. All right. So, this next one, a ton of fun. I think you'll like it. This is Dragon Dances. All right, we have just 2 more for you guys before we conclude for the evening. I just want to mention now very quickly, there will be a quick checkout procedure just to make sure all the kids are making it home safely. We appreciate you guys helping us out with that, okay? Please do not leave without checking out. We will have 6th and 7th grade band and drum players check out with Mr. Paz from earlier. We will have all 6th and 7th grade string players check out with Miss Caravan. That will be at the Merity Gate, right back there. I will be checking out all 8th graders right here in front of the stage, okay? So once they get all their instruments into the room, once we get all the equipment into the room, pair up with your child, we'll check you guys out just to make sure everybody gets home safe and sound. This next piece is one that we discovered last year. We actually played it here at the spring concert last year. We did not compete with it until this year, and they really played the heck out of it. You may recognize this one from last spring concert.
I think I saw you while I was like hopping up onto the.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because I went over there and it's like I can get one of these good angles. Super
I was like, I just ripped it to put on top. This is
Is your mom here right now? Oh, are you ready?
Carpooling. Yeah, my daughter.
All right, everybody, we're down to our last tune of the evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What an endurance run for all you guys. Give yourselves a hand. My goodness. My goodness. We're finally mostly all in shade. Now it's time to go.
For my, like,
So we got one last piece for you here. One of the
Still works.
pieces of feedback we actually got from the judges was for me. And it was, don't be afraid to challenge them. And so that's what we did with our closer for tonight. This is the most difficult graded piece that they've done all year. And like every other group I've talked about on stage before them, they really rose to the occasion. I do want to acknowledge one person who is unable to be with us. As many of you have heard, one of our musicians in this group, Zoe Rendon, is unfortunately very ill with cancer. She is making a recovery. We just received an update that she is doing better. She is out of the ICU, and the growth is now down to half of its previous size, so she is on the right track. We hope to have her back here by next year. But this uplifting piece is one that I would like to dedicate to her and send us off on a hopeful note for the future. So this is Blue Sky Horizon. Thank you again so much for being with us here tonight. And we will see you, many of you, I hope, next year. all so much. One more big round of applause for the Advanced Orchestra, for all the musicians featured tonight. Thank you all so much. Okay, so I'm gonna send them off to do their thing. Any other musicians in the audience, or if you can hear me back there, toward the music room, your job is to get everything back in the room. Once the stage is clear, meet with your adults